I'm Brian Davies, Marketing Manager for Nokia's Core Networks portfolio. Today I want to lead you through the Power Utilities version of our Nokia Core Enterprise Solutions. This is called Nokia Core Enterprise Solution for Power Utilities. So without any further intro, let's get started. As you might know, power utilities have many long-distance power lines for transmission of energy from one place to another. These are high-voltage lines that if they touch the ground, they'll actually start a bushfire. And in our scenario here, that's exactly what's going to happen. Lightning has struck a tree, the tree has fallen against the conductor, and this is going to cause the conductor to break, hit the ground, and start a fire. Now, the power utility organization knows that something's wrong because they've got sensors on these towers that identify some kind of glitch. So they have to send out a response. That response might be a truck roll with people to visually inspect the tower, but it's much faster just to send out drones like we're showing here. The drone closes in on the location and discovers, oh, hey, there's a fire, and so we need to actually launch some kind of response. So let's talk about the systems that are used by power utility organizations to manage all of this interaction and communication between devices and systems. Now, power utility companies need to have several functions work properly in order to run their business. Some of those are distribution systems operations and maintenance. They also need plant operations and maintenance. They need grid communications to work properly. They also need plant and field communications so that they can talk to their operational personnel in the field. And finally, they need sensors and automation so that they can monitor the state of their power grid. So the question you might ask is, what is Nokia bringing to the picture? Well, we're adapting our carrier solution to be used in a power utilities context. We're making it smaller and also making it customized to fit that purpose. But because we come from the carrier world, we inherit some capabilities that are useful here. One of them is robustness. So our systems are designed to operate at very high reliability rates, and that's very helpful in a power utilities context. QoS and security is important because you need those critical communications to get through, even if an event is occurring that's reducing the bandwidth. So QoS is quite important. We have technology. So we're following a technology curve that's being run by the 3GPP in terms of its continuous innovation in the carrier space. Interoperability, we need to be able to connect to many different systems. And that, in fact, is what a core network is good at doing, connecting networks to other networks. We also have to have good coverage. We do that with private wireless radios. And finally, future-proofness. Now, since we're following the 3GPP schedule of feature enhancement, that means that we automatically gain capabilities that they put in. New features, new capabilities, those get incorporated into our solution as software updates. So let's have a look at the actual solution. Well, first of all, don't worry, I'm not going to go through every single part of this architecture diagram. That would take way too long. But I will point out three different areas of importance. On the left-hand side, you'll see the packet core. Now, the packet core is created using our existing products from the carrier space, notably the Cloud Mobility Gateway and the Cloud Mobility Manager. If I click on one of these, you'll see the individual network functions that are being done by that particular Nokia product. The second area that's important, but it is optional for power utilities, is the Cloud Native Communication Suite. That's in the middle of this diagram. So that's an IMS Pulte solution. And so what that provides is voice and text and other capabilities for doing communications between endpoints. Finally, on the right-hand side, you'll see Nokia Group Communications. That's a mission-critical solution that comes from our enterprise business, and we've included it as part of this solution. This allows you to add mission-critical push-to-X capabilities across your network. Well, what about redundancy? Our solution is designed to be geographically redundant, which means that you typically would have two data centers. If one of the data centers goes down, the other one takes over the full load. So here's an example of what that would look like. On the left, you can see the cluster 1, on the right there's cluster 2. First of all, each of these network functions is actually replicated within the cluster. And this is done at the container level. So if one container fails, the other one within the same site and cluster takes over the full capability, the full load. But if the entire cluster fails, then the other site takes over the full load. So in summary, what do we have here? We have a customized solution that fits specifically the needs of power utilities. It's also optimized, which means we've reduced the footprint and also the TCO of the solution from that of what a carrier would typically have. It's also automated. We recognize that power utilities don't have the hundreds of personnel, operations personnel, that a typical communication service provider would have. We have scale. We can scale up to nationwide in nature. We have a regulatory compliance. That's actually important. We have interfaces to other systems. Legacy interworking. So we actually interwork with all of the different power utilities capabilities that you have today. Carrier grade. Our solution is designed for communication service providers, and that means 9.5s or better reliability. And so that's something that this solution inherits from that space. It supports both 4G and 5G, and we have all cloud native and future-proof technology that the system is based on. Well, let's talk about public references. Now you might ask, how can you possibly have public references when you only launched the solution at the end of May 2023? And in fact, this solution becomes generally available in December of 2023. Well, the answer to that is that we've sold this full communication service provider sized solution to customers in these categories for some time now. And the new thing here is that our solution here is just a smaller version of exactly that same thing. So it has all the same features and capabilities. Essentially, it's functionally equivalent. So our first customer is New South Wales government in Australia. So this is a proof of concept. The problem they were trying to solve here is to be able to coordinate agency responses from multiple different agencies in the event of a bushfire response. That is something that our core network is very good at. Our second reference is 450 Connect in Germany. This is a power utility application where they're using a 450 megahertz private wireless network with Nokia's full CSP core to manage their network, their utility network. And finally, we have another customer in India that's a railways customer. What's happening in railways is that they're about to go to FRMCS, that's Future Railway Mobile Communication System, but the standard is not completely specified yet. So this customer is jumping the gun and putting in our CSP core as a precursor to going and adopting FRMCS. So this has been a tour of our Nokia Core enterprise solution for power utilities. I'm Brian Davies, and thank you for watching.